Hey there, this is Dr. Jewa Lea, and I am coming to you today because today's the first day of Heart Health Month. And I wanted to share some information about heart health that may not be readily available. Reason being is that I've written a book called Whole Heart Living that I'm going to be releasing soon, hopefully within the next few weeks. I'm in the editing process right now. But in my research of doing heart health and looking at how the heart works, I realized that there's a lot of misinformation about the heart that I think is the reason why heart disease is the #1 killer worldwide. I was looking around on various heart websites because this is their month, the American Heart Association, the World Heart Federation. There are a whole lot of different heart organizations worldwide, and they've chosen February as their month to focus on heart health. And while I was looking at some of the websites, I realized that the information that they're giving is very limited and somewhat outdated. And I'll go more into that because I plan on going in depth about this within the next 28 days. So every day I'm going to go live here in my Facebook page and talk about heart and what it is to live wholeheartedly. And I know that the information that I'm giving is probably something that you may not have heard before, or you may have heard in passing, or you didn't know the significance of it in relation to your heart. And so we're going to dive deep into the heart as the month goes on, and hopefully you'll get something that will turn your life around as far as your heart health is concerned, because it impacts everyone. Everybody has a heart, and I believe that the majority of people, if they knew how powerful their hearts were, would treat them differently or would live differently than they are currently doing right now. I wanted to share a couple of statistics because, it's something to do that kind of makes it aware of how impactful heart disease is on the world population. 17.5 million people die from heart disease, cardiovascular disease. 1 in 10 people in the ages between 30 and 70 die from cardiovascular disease. And I think that is a relatively low ratio, 1 in 10. I actually think it's higher, just based on what I've seen in other places. And then 31% of all deaths are from cardiovascular disease. And I got this from the World Heart Federation.org website. And so let's go start with the basics, because this is what I found on a lot of the websites that I looked at in reference to heart health. We know that the heart sits on the left side of our chest, and that it has 4 chambers, 2 atria, and 2 ventricles. And blood flows through those 4 chambers. First, blood comes in on the right-hand side and then goes through the atria and then the ventricle and then up into the lungs, where carbon dioxide and other gases are exchanged for oxygen. And then that blood goes back to the heart through the left atria and then finally the left ventricle and then through the aorta and goes through the rest of the body. Now, we can start with looking at a couple of misnomers about the heart, starting with the color that is represented with it. If you look around, for February, we have Valentine's Day. Again, it's it's World Heart Month, Heart Health Month, and you'll see red hearts everywhere. Red, 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 red. In fact, if you want to think of the true color for the heart, you want to start thinking green. Green is the color of the heart chakra, because we live in an energetic universe, and that and energy is what makes up everything. And the vibration that is resonant with the heart is higher than a red color. In fact, red is a base color in the 7 chakras. So we go through the 7 chakras. You have red, which is at the base of the spine. Then you have orange, which is the sacral chakra, which is around the reproductive organs. If we think about creativity and reproduction, that orange chakra, the sacral chakra, is responsible for that physical creativity. Then we have the yellow chakra, which is around the solar plexus area, which is right below the ribs. And that is yellow. And that is signifies willpower, the drive to do something through effort. That's where that energy is stored in the body. And then finally we get to the heart chakra. Heart chakra is green in color, and it has actually 2 parts. It has a lower part and an upper part, and I'll get back to that in just a second. Finally, then we have the blue chakra, which is the throat chakra, and that comes with expression, the I am, communication, speaking your truth. We have the third eye, which is right here, and that is associated with the amethyst or purple color. And then finally we have the crown chakra, which is a white color, that's right above the head. And so you have all these chakras. You have 3, 1, 2, 3. The red, which is the base, orange, which is the sacral, and the yellow, which is the will. Those 3 base chakras below the heart, and then you have 3 above the heart. You have the throat, the third eye, and the crown. So the heart is like a pivot point between the lower energies and the upper energies. So you have a lower chamber of the heart and then an upper chamber of the heart. So the heart is actually like a pivot. It is the place where you go from physicality, which is the lower chakras, to spirituality, or what is unseen, which is the upper chakras. So it's a juncture. It's also known as the pivot or the green door. So when we think about the heart, I want you to start thinking green, because that's the most appropriate color and vibration of what the heart is actually doing on an energetic level. It's not red. It's not pure physicality. It's not based on survival. All of those things are based on red. So start thinking green as far as the heart is concerned. Next thing I wanted to talk about in reference to the heart, we talked about the 4 chambers, which we know about. We talked about the color and how to think about green now instead of red. And the other thing I want you to ponder on is the heart as a pump. Now, if you go to these websites that talk about heart health, one of the things that they cover is, the fact that the heart has these 4 chambers and it helps circulate blood, and it's a pump. It's not a pump. In fact, if it were a pump, it would really have to be different in architecture in order for it to be a pump. The heart itself is about the size of your fist, and it sits on the left-hand side of your chest. It has, the base is at the top, and then the point is at the bottom, which is called the apex. And the apex is so thin, it's so thin that any kind of pressure would rupture it. So the heart being a pump really defies the laws of physics. What the heart is in actuality is a vortex accelerator, decelerator. And it's like, okay, what vortex? Well, the blood in our body, if you think of the blood in the body, I know for the longest time when I thought about blood pumping through the body, I thought of it like water flowing through a hose. In actuality, the heart pumps the blood in a vortex. So let's think of some common vortexes that we're familiar with. Think about hurricanes. You see the Weather Channel and they show the weather pattern of a hurricane approaching. You see this swirling motion of clouds with a center that really doesn't have anything going on. It's stillness in the center, and all the activity is swirling around it. Tornadoes are another sign, another example of a vortex. Again, swirling energy with a calm center. So when we think of vortexes, we also have vortexes when we put water down a drain. If you have a sink full of water and you take the plug out, the water goes down in a vortex. And there is an energy associated with a vortex. There's a suction that's associated with a vortex. You hear testimonials of people who have survived hurricanes or especially tornadoes, and they talk about how the roof of their house just lifted off. It was sucked off because of the amount of energy and amount of suction that the tornado was producing. Well, our heart is a vortex accelerator, decelerator, because the blood in our bodies moves in a vortex. And that has powerful, powerful implications. So the heart is not a pump. It's a vortex accelerator, decelerator, and it operates through suction. And so there's a lot of information that I want to share with you in the coming days that builds upon all of this information. But and I hope that you stick with me for these next 28 days to learn even more fascinating facts about the heart and how it applies to you in your daily living. We'll go into nutrition and what foods are beneficial and what are not. And a lot of the information that's out there, as far as food pyramids, we'll go over that and show how that information is wrong as well. So thanks, Tiffany. So join me daily, and this is my first time doing this, so I have no excuses, but if you want to subscribe to my new TV channel, drjewatv.com, and click subscribe, and you'll get updates on my videos if you can't catch me live in Facebook. Okay? Again, my name is Dr. Jewa Lea, and I am a master best practitioner and master self-mastery and personal transformation coach, author of the book Whole Heart Living. And I look forward to seeing you again soon, like tomorrow. I'm going to do this. It's new for me. So let me know what you would like to know about the heart in the comments, and see if I can cover that in the next 28 days. And I encourage you to live a life of joy and purpose. Thanks.